Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Introduction to Sri Vaishnavism, Part 3. In the previous two parts, we looked at the importance of Vedas and at the importance of Sri Ramayana. Sri Ramayana is 24,000 slokas, 24,000 slokas on that describe the story of Sri Rama and Sita, their adventures in the forest, Sita being eventually captured by Ravana, Rama freeing her through battle, and their being crowned king and queen of the world at Ayodhya. Those 24,000 slokas are summarized by a very great acharya by the name of Swami Pillai Lokacharya. He was a great scholar of the Sri Vaishnava tradition, and he decided that he could write the entire meaning of of Sri Ramayana in one verse, in one line. He wrote, Itihasa Sreshtamana Sri Ramayana Tal Sirayarindhaval Ektam Solagirade. He clarified that the reason for Ramayana, the reason that the entire events of Ramayana unfolded, was not because of Rama's will, but because of Sita's desire. Sira Irindhavilayattam Solagirade means that Sita decided herself to be taken prisoner by Ravana, such that Rama would come and save her, so that the Devatas and human beings would be freed from the curse of Ravana. A similar story is understood to be the hidden meaning behind the Mahabharata. Again, Pilalokacharya, Mahabharatal Duta Ponavan Ektam Solagirade. Mahabharatal Duta Ponavan Ektam Solagirade. This, in the Mahabharata, Sri Krishna, the Lord of the universe, takes on the form of a servant to the Pandavas, trying to negotiate between the Pandavas and Kauravas in order to prevent a war, and then later becoming the charioteer to Arjuna and actually encouraging a war. The question becomes, why should there be a war at all? After all, both these families, the Pandavas and Kauravas, are cousins, and both of them have one common relation, Krishna, who is the Supreme Being. If the Supreme Being had ordered everyone to stop battle, they probably would have. But there was a reason behind his actions. As we all know, the Pandavas and Kauravas were playing a game of dice, a game of pachisi, in the Kaurava kingdom, in the Pandava kingdom, with Duryodhana and others. Yudhishthira was waging all different kinds of things, land, horses, elephants, armies, in the process of losing a gambling game. Having nothing left, he stakes the only thing that he has, which is his wife, Draupadi, also known as Krishna. One can imagine the horror that a human being bets another human being in gambling and loses, so that the wife of the Pandavas now becomes the toy to the Kauravas. And Duryodhana, as you know, dragged her by her hair, brought her to the assembly, and tried to disrobe her. Thankfully, Krishna's name, Govinda, did not had enough power to prevent Draupadi from having any problems. But Krishna himself was not there at the time. He was in Dwarka. Krishna had always considered Draupadi to be his sister, and he was always there to be an older brother to her, to protect her. This is the importance of human relationships. They're not necessarily biological, they're emotional. So the word Tangachi, which is younger sister, and the word Anna, which is older brother, takes on a very deep meaning in the lives of people, as is in the lives of Krishna and Draupadi. When Krishna found out what had happened to his sister, he cried. And he was so enraged that he was ready to kill both the Kauravas and the Pandavas for their sin. The Kauravas for dishonoring Draupadi, the Pandavas for staking her in a gambling match as though she were a mere object. But Draupadi, being the wife of the Pandavas, held on to her Mangalsutra and said that her husband should not be killed. Krishna understood the situation and acquiesced to that, but he realized that both sides should become punished for their sins and that eventually the Kauravas should lose the battle to the Pandavas, such that Duryodhana and the other Kauravas who did harm to Draupadi be mercilessly killed for their crime. So Krishna sets up the situation in all the negotiations and all the politics of Mahabharata. The situation is, Krishna allows for the situation to reach a point where there was no other choice but war. And when Arjuna, in the middle of the battlefield before the war began, stopped, dropped his weapons and said to Krishna that he doesn't know what to do. His question was simple. It was not a meaning of life question, but it was a question that Arjuna was specifically asking to Krishna, is it all right for him to do battle with his kith and kin? The Bhagavad Gita, the great conversation between Krishna and Arjuna about the meaning of life, emerged from this. But it also gave Arjuna the courage to go and win in battle, such that justice be done. Krishna's compassion is such that he cannot bear to see suffering of any one of his devotees. Consequently, he is ready to act, even as a slave, to bring good to the world. Now about that Bhagavad Gita, we'll discuss that next time.